Hey guys, I had this amazing epiphany one day, right? I thought, oh, I should tap that song. So I've tapped this song and it sounds awesome on a mandolin. If I can play it without putting in accidental harmonics, let's see how I do. So we're just going to look at the first section. I'll play it to you first and then we'll break it down. Here we go. Okay, and that was section 1 then. So in terms of rhythm, it's just tea and coffee all the way through that first section. And if it's got a little lightning bolt squiggle, then it's just a rest and it's worth the same as a T or a crotchet quarter note, same thing. So let's look very slowly at the top line. We're just going to keep on going. And you'll notice some things stay down to help me navigate. Mostly 5s, I think. 5s and 2s are like my go-to, but let's just see how we do. So, tea, coffee, tea, tea is our first rhythm. Tea, coffee, tea, tea. Then we're into coffee, tea, coffee, coffee. Now that's a little bit tricky, you could see. I don't always land as cleanly as I would like, but that's alright. So that bar again, second bar. Coffee, tea, coffee, coffee. Here we go. And again, so A, just realised that one's a little bit too far back for you to see. So you've got your A string, A string to your D string, coffee, and then straight back to T. So I take the 5 off, I play the 3 with my middle finger, and then it's ring finger, middle finger to get the 2 5s. Alright, let's rewind back to the first bar and then we'll go as far as the third bar. Here we go. Next bar. So it's almost a direct copy of the first bar, but not quite because we land on this 5. Oh, make sure you move it back before you get to the next bar. Again, let's take that bar where we've got our F chord above it. Here we go. Now this is the first time we get the pull-offs coming in. There's a lot of these to come. So let's look at this bar in some depth. So in terms of rhythm, coffee, tea, coffee, coffee. And you'll notice as well, it's not the most friendly of intervals that I'm using with my fingers. Don't know if I would recommend this. You could use your little finger if it's more used to being used on 5th. My ring finger just takes over on 5th. It's very used to being used there. And then my middle finger is on 3, but this does help me with the next bar with the 2s. And I find I'm nicely set up for that. So it's kind of like, I can take it for a brief while. I wouldn't do this if I had a lot of them, but it's just a quick movement, so it's not too bad as long as I get off it real quick. So 4th bar again. Here we go. Coffee, tea, coffee, coffee. And then we're straight into our 2. I like that pull-off. That's a friendly pull-off. So 2. And then you hit it again and you flick it off with that hand. So this hand is doing nothing. It's all in that hand. If you can, I would say if you can, let's have a look if you can. I would slide back with the 2 if you can. I know I keep saying it. Slide back with the 2 after that 3 into an A shape. To make that 2 a little bit smoother and let it ring. That's an option. You can see perfectly well that my hand doesn't want to do it, so don't feel you have to. But if you get on really well with A's, give that a go, because it will sound nicer if that 2 does ring on the G string. But let's do that bar again. So bar 5. Here we go. Tea, coffee, tea, tea. It's not too bad, right? Don't worry if your pull-off is quiet. That's fine. That's how they all start out. You'll get there. Just sit there watching TV doing that. You'll get there. Okay, carrying on. Let's go from that bar into the next one. Same thing again. And then we've got a hammer on. Ooh, don't overstretch it, finger. You don't have to pull the monkey off. You can if you want to. I think mine wants to. But you can still play the 2 afterwards. That's fine. So, hammer-ons, as I always say, hit it first. Throw it on with reckless abandon. Aim for the bone of your finger. I know how gross that sounds, but that's how you get results. If I aim for the squishy, listen to this. I just don't get anything. If I aim for the tip, I get a good sound. So aim for the bone within. Wow, that's a weird thing to say, but true. Okay, moving on to the next bar. In fact, let's recap bar 5 so that then we can move into that bar 7. There we go. Remember how to count. Okay, here we go. This is a new bar. And you'll notice I do hammer that 5 down because I just find that makes it easier for me to get to the next section or the next bar. You can play it. I just end up a little bit fingers and thumbs, as we call it. So I prefer to just smack it down on the 5. So again, just to reiterate a point, not using my right hand for that final 5 in that bar. So let's go from bar 7 again. Ooh, it pulled off as well. See, there are options. You can always speed things up in different ways. Or always there are options. Whatever works for your hand. Moving on to the next bar. And you might not like that pull off, and I don't blame you if you don't. It's fair enough. I'm using my ring finger to my middle. And it isn't the most comfortable of things, I must admit, but it tends to work. You could do an alternate pick, maybe, and not pull it off. Let's have a try. Yeah, that works too. So always try out what works for your hand. It does depend on the hand. Can't stress that enough. All right, we've come pretty far, guys. Let's rewind back up to the beginning, and we're doing those first 2 lines, those first 8 bars. Here we go. Oh, I should count you in. 1, 2, 3, 4. How did you do? Don't worry if you got left behind. Remember, you've got that little option on YouTube. You click the cog, you click the settings, you click playback, and you click 75. Everything gets easier. I love that setting. All right, next little bit then. We're nearly there now, guys. You're about halfway through, more or less. Okay, so here we go. So again, with the rhythms, we've got tea, coffee, 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 tea, coffee, coffee, tea. So it's still just tea and coffee. So a few more hammer-ons and pull-offs coming up, but you can do it. Remember, just aim for the bone. Here we go. Let's do that one again. So open A, hit it, hammer it down, get the 3 there, pull it back to the 2. If you can, flick the whole thing off and play the 5. Or hammer it, whichever works for you. But I don't mind equally if all these hammer-ons and pull-offs are just not going to happen. It's totally fine if you just pick them. Okay? You know your hand better than me. So let's do it. Let's do that again even. So bar 9. And I'm going to do that one more time, but I'm going to go slow, and then I'm going to carry on into the next bar. So here we go. I like that bit. I like it because it's complicated. and yet not, right? It looks easy enough, but bizarrely, I don't know. Just gives my hand a bit of a challenge. I think it's that bit that does it. So, 2, hammer on. And the trick there is to not get that on an upshot if you hit an upshot with the E. I just seem to want to upshot it. Yeah, something about hitting it down, I catch something, but when I upshot it, I'm fine. So there you go. Let's do that bar again, nice and slow. Good. And again, that was a tea, coffee, coffee, tea. And we're carrying on. Tea, coffee, tea, tea, coffee, tea, coffee, coffee. We see this rhythm a lot. This is also a direct copy of the first bar 3 and bar 4. So you've done it already, so don't worry. Same with this one, you've done this one already. Things change here, so I go to my middle finger. And again, I've got that awkward interval. If you want to use your little finger, by all means, go for it. You could also slide this, it's worth saying. But make sure you don't leave it down because you get that ring, it just kind of clashes because you've got a G held down at the same time as an A. Yeah, you don't want that. So if that happens... So I know it looks like I'm leaving it down, but I'm taking the pressure off. So slide, take the pressure off, hit the A. If you want to. Again, all options, don't have to. So let's talk about the rhythm here then. So you've got coffee, tea, tea, coffee, tea, 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 tea. And I'm letting this ring on purpose, guys. These would have been minims or half notes, but this tab is just not clear enough for people, and I get really annoyed at it. I get annoyed at the software because the minims are not clear enough. So I've taken to putting in little crotchet rests or quarter note rests here and there. So by all means let that ring. That works much nicer if you do let it ring. But equally I want you to be aware that there is another beat in there, okay? So don't worry too much about it. Main thing is don't stop it. Don't go... Doesn't sound horribly wrong, but it also doesn't sound as nice as it could, right? Okay. Let's try that again from that place as well. And I should just talk about why I'm using my middle finger. It's because of where I'm coming from. I've just had a... But I could, you know what? I could slide up with my index if I want to 3, so you don't have to stay in that same position like I did. Ooh, as long as you land on the right one. Honestly, I know I keep saying it in this video, but I cannot stress enough how different all of our hands are. The more I teach, the more I see it. All of our hands are different and they all want to do different things. So it's good to give you guys lots of options. So you can see, you can do it whatever way you want. Okay, I'm going to go from bar 13 to the end. Here we go. We're looking at tea, coffee, tea, tea. Here we are. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just let that sucker ring. And there you go, that's the first section. So if you got this far, well done. It's very much an exercise in hammer-ons and pull-offs, and why we would use them as well, because this is a very fast song. We use them for fast things to get things as smooth as we can. That said, you don't have to do it at the original speed. You could do it at a nice leisurely pace. And if you don't get on with hammer-ons and pull-offs, then you don't have to do them. You could have a... And that would work fine. See, works just as well. So use what works for you. You don't have to do the hammer-ons and pull-offs, you can just pluck it. Totally fine. But I hope you've enjoyed this. Stay tuned because there will be a section 2 and a section 3. It's quite a long song. But thank you very much for watching, guys. See you all again soon.